Hey guys, welcome to the second video of the machine learning series. If you haven't watched the first one, there will be link right here on the screen or in the description as well. You can go and watch it. That is a basic introduction to the machine learning. So in that video, we have explained basically three questions. That is, what is machine learning and why should we learn machine learning and what are the different types or how do we implement machine learning, right? Of this, I am not concerned about why for now because I'm pretty sure that you have a strong reason to learn machine learning. That's why you're here. So let us focus on what and types, right? So whenever you have a machine learning problem in front of you, there are certain questions which you should answer first before even deciding on which algorithm you want to apply and how do you want to approach the problem. So these questions help you determine what will be the most perfect, the right approach to a given problem. So in what is machine learning, we learned something about performance metric P, experience E, and the task in hand T. So we said that if the performance metric of a machine increases with experience on a task T, then we say that the machine is learning, right? So these were the three things we learned in what, and in types we came across terms like supervised machine learning, and we came across unsupervised machine learning. Then there was something called online learning, and the opposite of online learning is batch learning, and so on. So these are different classifications of different machine learning algorithms we can apply. So to put it in machine learning terms, or to put it in how we are going to code it, how we are going to implement this in Python or any other coding language, the performance metric in machine learning is something called as loss function. Similarly, the experience, we can say experience as the iteration or epochs. Epochs is a term frequently used in machine learning. So this is basically how many times we are going to repeat the same task. That is, if we have a data point and based on that data point we are training a machine learning algorithm, how many times we are going to go over that particular data times. That is called the epochs or iteration, and which we termed as experience in our last video. And T, the task, is the problem in hand, right? So what type of problem it is, whether it is something called as classification, or is it something called as regression, or it is something else, right? Okay, so what is classification? Classification in plain English terms, we have a data set and we want to predict whether that data set, whether that particular instance belongs to a particular class 1 or class 0. So, or we can say, suppose we have images of many animals, we want to classify whether the image is of a cat or the image is of a dog. So that is one classification. That is a classification problem. We are classifying the instance into one of the many classes. There can be more than two, there can be many number of classes. When it comes to regression, regression is basically predicting continuous values. Continuous values. Like suppose we want to predict the temperature for today, right? So temperature is a continuous value. We do not classify whether it is not a classification problem because we cannot say the temperature is either 35 or 36. The temperature can be 35, it can be 35.1, 35.2, it can be 35.12, and so on. So it is a continuous, the value which we are predicting is a continuous value. So that is a regression problem, right? So these two major kinds of problem which we find in machine learning are here: classification and regression. And when it comes to types, I have explained these types in the first video, like what is supervised learning. We have labeled data, then we say that it is supervised learning. When unsupervised learning, we don't have labeled data. Online learning, the model, the algorithm is continuously learning with the flow of values, with the new values which is coming to it. An example of online learning can be stock prediction, right? In stock prediction, there's continuous flow of values of uh, the stock prices of that present day, of the previous day, and their different news, the different uh, news in the economic sector that affects the stock prices. So there's continuous inflow of new news items, so that is also taken care of. Similarly, batch learning is just opposite of online learning. In batch learning, we have a data set, we train the model on that particular data set, and then we deploy it, right? It is not learning further when it is being applied to the problem, right? So that is batch learning, and so on. So these classification, the answers to these questions are to be decided whenever we have any machine learning problem in front of us, right? So let me put it this way. So we have a problem, right? So first we check what type of data is available. As I said in the first video, data is the heart and soul of any machine learning problem. The more data we have, the more better it is, the better it is for the machine learning algorithm. And if there's a problem where we don't have any data at all, we don't have any relevant data, it is very difficult to solve that problem using machine learning, right? So data is important. So we see what type of data we have for a problem. Then we see whether it is a classification problem or is it a regression problem, right? Then we answer that whether we can apply a supervised machine learning algorithm or we can apply a unsupervised machine learning algorithm, right? Then we can check whether we can apply batch learning or we can apply online learning, right? Also, we have to decide what will be the performance metric. Performance metric. So these things are to be answered. So let me take 3 examples. So first example, I have a machine learning problem. I have a problem which I want to solve using machine learning, and the problem is I have to predict score of a student based on his attendance. So we have attendance of every student and we want to predict the score of the student based on this, right? Second problem can be, we have data. These are some of the very common problems which I'm quoting. So we have data of employees of a company and we want to predict attrition. So attrition is basically whether the employee will stay in the company or he's going to resign from the company, right? Let's go to a third one. Suppose you want to build what can you build? Suppose you want to build a software which can identify hand gestures, right? So hand gestures can be anything. You can be showing a thumbs up, you can be showing a thumbs down, or you can be showing the front of your palm or the back of your palm, anything, right? So let's answer these questions for each of these data sets, right? So let's go to the first one. So predict the score of a student based on his attendance. So what type of data you think we will be having? So we'll be having a certain column where we will be having the attendance of the student, and then we will be having the score of the student. This will be the data available to us, and this will be the data of the past occurrences. Suppose last year this was the attendance of the student, and corresponding to this attendance these were the scores, right? So this year we have the attendance and we want to predict the score. So this data will be most probably available in something called a CSV format, or we'll be having something called vectors. These are called vectors and matrices. So I'll be going into that in detail from next videos. So let's assume we have that in CSV format, right? So the code which we write should be capable of reading CSV data file, right? It should be able to read the CSV data file. It should be able to read a particular column. This is what we have, the uh, independent variable, and this is the dependent variable. Or we say this is the feature. This is the feature, and the score which we want to predict, that is the target. So these are some of the terms used in machine learning: features and targets. So features are basically the whatever data we have for particular instance. Like in this case, for each student we have is attendance. So attendance is a feature, and we want to predict the score. The score is the target, right? And okay, so the data is available in CSV format. Let's try whether it is a classification or a regression problem. Now the score, we cannot classify whether the score is 0, 1, 2 or 3. This is the score of a student is a continuous variable. It can be anywhere between 0 to 100. It can even be decimal values. So that is basically a regression problem. That makes it a regression problem. On the contrary, if we set the limits that any score which is less than 30, we write it as poor. If score is greater than 30 and less than say 70, we write it as average. If it is greater than average, it is greater than 70, we write it as excellent, right? So in this case, based on the attendance, we are trying to predict whether the student falls in the poor category, average category or excellent category. Then this becomes a classification problem, because we have three classes in which we want to classify the instance given to us. But since we are not doing that, we are predicting the score, so that is a continuous value, so this becomes a regression problem. Okay, so is it unsupervised or supervised learning? Now we have the attendance, we have the score. So basically the data is labeled. So these targets can also be called as labels, right? So we have a completely labeled data. For each attendance, for each value of attendance, we have the corresponding score. So this is a labeled data, and that's why we can say that we can apply a supervised learning algorithm, right? If the score was not given, only attendance was there, and we had to group the students into certain categories, then that would have become an unsupervised learning problem, because the target was not there, the target was not defined. Okay, so is it a batch learning problem or an online learning problem? Well, we have the data, and based on this we'll train the algorithm, and then we will apply it. It is very unlikely, or that it is very unlikely that there is any continuous flow of data when we are applying this model, right? It is very likely that a higher attendance corresponds to a higher score, apart from some exceptions. So this becomes a batch learning problem. We will take this particular data set and we'll train the model, and then we'll apply it. When it is applied, it doesn't need to learn further while it is being applied, right? Performance metric. So performance metric can be of different type. So usually in performance metric, let me take it here. So usually in performance metric, we call it as loss functions. So we basically calculate the errors, the error between the actual value, the actual score in this case, and the predicted score. So once we have trained the model, and then we try to predict the scores of each instance, and we compare it with the actual score which was there, and we find the error. And the aim is, the motive is to minimize these errors. So these error functions are also called as loss functions. We can have different type of error. We can have something called mean square error. We can have something called root mean square errors. We can have mean absolute errors. So there's different formulas, different algebraic relations. So I'll be explaining that more, the mathematical part of it, in the next video. So from these set of loss functions, we have to choose the most suitable one as a performance metric. In this case, any of these three will work depending on certain factors, and we'll get to that more in future videos. Okay, so let me try to move it. Right. So now we are done with the first data set which we had. Let's move on to second one. So we have data of employees. Okay, so we have data of employees, and for each employee we have, suppose, his age, his gender, his income, how many years has he worked in that company, how many certifications he have, and so on. So suppose we have his age, his gender, his years of experience, his income. Let's assume these four values, and we predict attrition. Okay. So in this case, again relating with this concept, in this case we have four features for each instance, and this is the target variable or the label. Okay. So based on these instances, we want to determine whether the employee would leave the company or would stay in the company. Okay, so data, again we can say a CSV format data is available. Whether it is a classification or regression problem, this is a classification problem because we want to predict whether the employee leaves or doesn't leave. So we have two classes. Let me call it class 0 and class 1, where class 1 means that the employee leaves, class 0 means that he doesn't leave. So we have only two values, two possible values, and that makes it a classification problem. So whether it is unsupervised or supervised, well, we have features and corresponding labels. So that is a supervised learning problem. Batch learning or online learning. Again, there is no continuous inflow of data while we are deploying this model, right? So there would be no continuous inflow of employee features, whatever we have. Continuously the age, gender, or the year or the income would be changing, right? And whatever slight changes would be there, that may or may not have very drastic effect on the attrition. So once we have the data, we can just train it once on this particular data set and then deploy it. So that is a batch learning problem. Again, the performance metric, we can choose any of these apart from what I mentioned already. These, we also have some other metrics. I'll not be going to details right now, but in future videos, as we go through the relevant concepts, we'll be going through it. We have something called cross entropy loss function, and we have something called hinge loss function. Each of these have a different mathematical expression, so we'll go into detail in that in future videos, so not to worry about them right now. Okay, so that answers for this data set. Let's go to the last one. So we are building a software which can identify hand gestures. Okay, so the data this time will be images, right? We'll be having images of different type of hand gestures collected from different people at in different backgrounds and many other variations, as much variations as possible. Okay, so the data is image data set, and that means that our Python code, or in whichever language we are writing the algorithm, it should be capable of reading image data set and converting it into a structure which is easily usable by our algorithm, right? So whether it is a classification or regression problem, so assuming we have 10 possible hand gestures which we are going to predict, we can have thumbs up, thumbs down, victory sign, palm front, palm back, and many others. So we'll be having 10 possible cases. So we have to classify the given instance into one of these 10 classes. So that makes it a classification problem, right? Whether it is supervised or unsupervised, well, we have the hand gesture. Suppose we have images 1 to 100, they belong to class 0, 100 to 200 belong to class 1, and so on, 900 to 1000, that belongs to class 10. So corresponding to every image we have a particular class, right? So we have the data, the features, and the labels. So that makes it a supervised learning problem. Okay, in this case the features can be each of the pixel values, right? So when we talk about images, let me draw an image here. So suppose this is an image. So the images, every image is divided into grids, right? Into grids, something like this. So if I draw vertical lines and horizontal lines, so suppose the image is divided into these many grids. Okay, so each box of this grid, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on. So we'll be having 25. This is the 24th, 0 to 24. So each of these, I'm sorry, we'll be having 6 cross 5, 30, so we'll be having 29. Okay. So each of this box, that is called a pixel. That is called a pixel in images, right? And each of this pixel will have some numerical value, and that is known as its intensity. Okay, so that is known as its intensity. So intensity of each of these pixel values, that can be a feature that we can treat as features of that particular image. So if we have a 6 cross 5 images, 6 cross 5 image of the hand gesture, we can say that it has 6 cross 5, that is 30 feature values. We have 30 features, and the label we have is what kind of which gesture that image is showing, right? That is the label. So gesture is the label. Okay, we can have many more features. We can make our own features from the images. That is a separate thing. So I'm just giving an example that what are basically features when it comes to image data set. Okay, so coming back to this, right? So we are done with supervised learning. Then is it a batch or online learning? Again, that is a batch learning. There is no continuous inflow of data. And the performance metric. Again, so one thing I would like to mention, that performance metric is mostly based on it varies with different problem, and it varies on which domain the problem belongs to. So if you have the domain expertise, if you the like if you are working with images and you know that suppose you are working with images of tissues of human body, and uh, you want to predict whether the tissue is cancerous or not. So if you have the domain expertise in cancer, if you know how is cancer detected and what are different things revolving around it, then you can create your own performance metric which is suitable to that particular domain. So performance metric is better, is domain specific. It varies with different problems, so we can use different performance metric. We can even create our own performance metric and judge how good our model is basically performing on it, right? Okay, so I think that's it for this video. So we had a look at 3 different types of data set, and then we answered a few questions based on these data set. And these questions are very important whenever you have a machine learning problem in front of you. You need to answer at least these questions. There are many more, but if you know the correct answers, the suitable answers for these questions, you can decide which algorithm you want to start with, or what type of algorithm you want to start with. Okay, so there are many algorithms in machine learning. You can even create your own algorithms, but answer to these questions are absolutely necessary to know which is the right one. Okay, so in next video we will be starting with something called linear regression. So that will be your first machine learning model, the most basic one, and we will doing implementing it in code, and we will be writing the code in Python. So I suggest that a very basic level of Python is good to know if you want to understand that video better. But I'll be explaining everything from very basic level. So even if you don't know Python, you would still be able to grasp some of it. But it is important to get IDE installed on your system, and you can search that for online, search for that on online, and you'll be able to do it very easily. So I guess that's it, and thanks a lot for watching. Do like, share and subscribe, and put in the comments what would you like me to add to these videos. If there are any feedbacks, please do give them. I'd like to improve. I'd like to give as much as possible in these 30 minutes of videos which I am making.